Well, look, this is kind of crazy. Out of nowhere, Ubisoft has canceled 6 games, including the Sands of Time remake. Yeah, they've also delayed 7 other games to ensure enhanced quality benchmarks are fully met here.
Doubt. There is no way they're going to improve anything.
I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell this is not a Ubisoft decision. This is a Tencent decision.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And I think Tencent goes, yo, dog, these games are utter dog shit. And these need to be either scrapped or brought up to standard here. And I think this is actually a great move because Ubisoft's reputation right now, both publicly and from a corporation standpoint, publicly, not good. Not good. But this, we always talk all the time. We say, what is the best thing that Star Wars could do? Go away. Go away. And make people want what you have to offer. So that's what Ubisoft may be doing here. Just going away, refocusing. It actually says in this article, says the review says, as a larger announcement that has conducted a major organizational and operation portfolio reset. The company also stated that it has conducted a thorough review of its content pipeline over the past 2 months, right? What happened a couple of months ago? The major investment from Tencent, right? So they went in and said, yo, we need to look at this shit. Review led to this decision to, quote, refocus its portfolio, reallocate resources, and comprehensively revise its roadmap over the next 3 years. Ubisoft said the focus will be on, quote, a return to exceptional levels of quality on the open world adventure segment and to, quote, step change the group's position in the games as a service native experience segment here. So 6 games, the 6 games that have been canned have not been announced really. And so there you go. Kay, I would love to hear your thoughts on this.
So what I'm getting from your perspective is you think they're going to take a breather. They were spinning too many plates and they're going to just like hyper focus on a few properties that they think will drive revenue for them. And they'll create like strong games, which by the sounds of it would be their more open world, like their Assassin's Creeds, their Far Cries, that kind of thing. Yep. I view this as like end times for Ubisoft. I think that if you're canceling 7 projects and one of them being Sands of Time, which would be a moneymaker just on the name alone, I think they're in deep trouble. There's going to be huge layoffs soon. They're going to find out they've got a lot of redundancies, and they might even start panning off more of those IPs to other companies. I think this is a big bad thing for Ubisoft, and you know what? They deserve it for all the crap that they've done. I don't see this as a positive at all for the company itself. I don't think this is going to be a refocus effort. I think they're using it as an excuse to make it be like, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Everyone loves Shadows. Everyone loves what we're doing. Don't worry. But in reality, I think there's going to be huge axing. I think that there
will be.
I think they're going to be like extinct in the next like 5 years.
I hard disagree. I think that people will look back on this moment right here where they're reallocating. I do think there's going to be cuts. I do think that there will be layoffs.
Huge cuts. Middle management gone.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think that listen, when you have an investment of what was it, $1 billion or whatever was put into them by Tencent, like when that money goes in, that money was put in so they could make this change because Tencent's not going to invest in a company that they don't see returns on, right? And they're putting their money and their business imprint on Ubisoft now, saying, yo, dog, this ain't cutting it. We got to up the quality, and ultimately that quality will ultimately lead to better results. I think people will look back on this day in 3 years from now when these things, when we start to see, I honestly think that this will help turn the tide for Ubisoft as opposed to you thinking that it will ultimately end the company.
I'm so intrigued to see the result because we're so opposite on this news. I just think they're fronting completely, but I see your perspective and I see where you're coming from. It's just, I think Ubisoft has just dug too deep into this and there's not going to be enough money for them to sustain them, for them to be able to move forward. And you're canceling like what, 7 projects was the number?
That's insane. 6 and 7 delays.
6. Yeah, that's insane.
So just as a heads up, as of today, January 21st, 2026, according to published Obsidian, there's already been 850 people laid off in the gaming industry. in the last 21 days.
Yeah, and like I said, I think there'll be lots of cuts when it comes to Ubisoft. Phoenix, what do you think of this?
This one's kind of hard to say because so K historically, I would say is more accurate, but I'm also leaning toward, I hate to be the fence sitter here, but I kind of am. But Craig, I think especially with Tencent being in there, I don't see them, I see them wanting them to succeed and not to axe them. So I think these would be moves in order to get everything back on track. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm going to lean more towards Craig on this one, but history is on K's side.
Here's the thing. Craig is thinking in a business sense, and I get that too, and I'm trying to pull myself out of that a little bit because the way that like me or Craig might work a business and see like the scenario they're in and how to fix it, I think there is an opportunity to fix Ubisoft and actually get it to a point where they're highly successful. So I think Craig is looking at it from a perspective of like, if I were in the shoes of this is what I would do, and this is a signal of this is what they're also doing. But I'm looking at the gaming industry, and there's no patience in the gaming industry, and I think that they're not going to generate enough revenue, and I think Tencent's going to get impatient and be like, we're done, and Ubisoft is just going to disperse all their IPs and be done.
Let me tell you exactly why this was driven by Tencent, right? Tencent, and this lines up perfectly what they said. They said they've been looking at this for the last 2 months, right? Well, Tencent invested you don't invest $1.25 billion into something with the intention of it going belly up, right? So Tencent invested $1.25 billion in Vantage Studios. Now, remember, this is the spinoff from Ubisoft here that's going to focus on Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Rainbow Six. Okay. The transaction closed November 21st, 2025, 2 months ago. So when this transaction closed and that money was put in, Tencent then came down and said, yo, dog, we own 26% of your company now. We are going to have a say in how this thing runs. And this $1.25 billion is with the intention, this investment was put in with the intention of letting them float for a little bit longer and focusing on excellence. I think this is going to be a great thing for Ubisoft personally. But maybe that's just me being optimistic. But when you have a Chinese company investing that much money, they are not in it for this to fail. And it's not like I don't see them pulling out. Like, let's be real. Nothing that Tencent has it invested in has failed. They've been wildly successful. And I think that ultimately this, and people say, well, like I'm white pilling here or whatever. This could lead to a golden era for Ubisoft. And I know that's a crazy statement for a lot of people, especially given how hard we've been on Ubisoft and what a laughing stock they've been. But you can't go much further down than where they're at, right? You can only go up. And I think this is the best course of action for a company like that, personally.
I mean, if they are going to go forward with that, then they're cleaning house completely. There's not enough development skill within this team currently to actually build something of quality. Like, they keep piling on like all these diversity incentives and everything. There are people that don't know how to do proper work in that company anymore. So I think that they would completely wreck house. They would clean everything out, and it wouldn't be the Ubisoft that we know of today or that we've known for the past 10 years if they do succeed. So is that even really still Ubisoft at this point? I don't know. It's really just, will the name survive or not at this point? And I'm in the camp of, no, it makes more sense to disperse things and just get your money from the IPs themselves rather than actually trying to fix the team.
Well, quick question for Kay. Can I ask for
yeah.
Kay, let's assume you're right. What's your timeline for them?
I think within 5 years. I think that's even being generous. I think it's be less than that. The world moves a lot faster now. I'm being very gracious with that timeline. I think within 5 years, but probably more like 2.
I very much disagree. But I understand the pessimism associated with it. I think when it goes to, you say, like, will the Ubisoft team be the same? No, it won't, right? But look at any sort of video game company, or let's just use a sports team as an example, right? Very rarely do you see the same player, even star players, stay with the same team for so long. But the company, the team still continues on, right? Ultimately, people are cogs in the machine. I've said this many, many times. Look, I'm replaceable. Phoenix is replaceable. Blabs, everybody is replaceable, right? That's just the reality of it. in a company the size of Ubisoft, cogs will be replaced. Even the CEO will be replaced at a certain point. We see that with Disney. Disney's CEO is going to be replaced. It's like Walt Disney, ultimately, people will argue he wasn't, but he was replaceable because the company has continued and grown into this multi-billion-dollar company, one of the biggest companies in the world since Walt Disney died, right? His ideas were meant to be the core of the company, but he was a cog in what he created. And that's just the cold, hard truth of the whole thing. And I think this allows you to put better cogs to be a part of the machine and ultimately create better games, which is what they're looking to sell. So, anyway.
And I don't disagree with you. I think that it would be a positive for them to completely replace everybody that's there. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some people that fall through the cracks, and it always upsets me because there are a lot of people in the gaming industry that unfortunately have these big corporate heads over them that have an idea and they get lumped in with that, even though they actually want to build good stuff. They don't care about any of this crap that's being pushed. They're being vocal within their own companies, but they're still, at the end of the day, being squashed and having to deal with whatever just to make a career in the industry so they can eventually make something good. So I always feel awful when there's layoffs because there are a lot of people in the gaming industry that genuinely care and are just stuck in these shitty positions to make the games. But at the end of the day, there is going to be a cleaning of house if they survive. And I think it is a good thing. They need to have better talent because Ubisoft has some of the best IPs within their portfolio. There's a lot of money sitting there. And that's just why my brain goes to send it to companies who could do a better job instead of trying to now put all of the hiring efforts into finding the right people to build those things. It's extremely expensive to overhaul and find new talent, test out that talent, then have that talent be gone, find new people. It's a really expensive process as well. So you might make more selling off the IPs.
Well, I'll say this, look at the chat. I posted a poll, am I wrong? Right. And a lot of people are saying I am wrong. And here's the beautiful thing about it is we'll see in about 3 years. We'll see in about 3 years. We'll talk about it then. And I'll be able to look back at this poll and be like, hey, you idiots. I was right or whatever, or, hey, I was a dum-dum. And if I was wrong, hey, it's a day that ends in Y.
I don't think your perspective is dumb though at all. It's really just looking at it in a business perspective and going, there is potential to actually make this work, and you hope that the business is also thinking in that way. So I see the vision that you do, that it is possible. I just don't believe that they would be capable. That's it.
Well, I guess we'll find out together, won't we? Yay! All right, we're growing. Grow with us. Hit that subscribe button. Don't make it weird. Not like that. That's weird.